So Daryl's not coming today?
What?
Daryl's not here?
Wow.
There's a new presenter.
Really? Who's it? Who's it going to be?
Well, I don't know who it'll be. I don't know.
Ta-da!
Oh no.
Dazzler 2.0, I know you've dreamt of this day.
Oh my
In
God.
charge finally.
No, come on.
New regime about here.
You're having a laugh.
We need to get down. We can't have him.
Hey,
Wing Commander.
There you are. What are you doing down here? What are you doing? I've been waiting upstairs, waiting to record
Thank God you've came in.
the Ladbrokes Social Club. We're on location. It's a special.
The new Daryl.
Did you think that he was doing it?
Well, he was at it. We thought he was.
No.
He's dressed up as well with his Wing Commander outfit there.
It's the Ladbrokes Social Club, so we decided to get social. We're on the road.
Beautiful.
We're here at Easter Road, and we've got so much to get through. We've got a jam-packed weekend from the Ladbrokes Scottish Premiership to talk about. No shortage of drama here on Saturday. We'll get through that. We've got the fantasy football. We've got the Europa League to get through. And, we'll maybe even find out where Darryl is. I don't know what he's up to. He doesn't know I'm here, though, so don't tell him.
Okay.
Let's go.
Good
Come on.
stuff.
So here we are at Easter Road, and look who is alongside me. What a delightful lineup for this week's Ladbrokes Social Club. Alex Ray, Stephen Craigan, and Dan from Talking Boss. Well, thanks for having me. Wow.
Oh, look at this.
Golly, man.
Somebody must have threw that in the pitch with that poor result of the weekend.
So the banter starts early on. Well, first of all, you guys have obviously been on the show way more than me, so thank you for having me here.
It's our pleasure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a big improvement, I would have to say.
The best looking presenter we've had on this show so far.
Oh,
Emma. Well
thanks,
done,
guys.
you.
That's kind. I mean, big shoes to fill being here for Darryl, who's obviously not with us this week. I'm not quite sure where he is, and he certainly doesn't know that I'm here. So I'm not sure how that's going to go down when he finds out that I'm in the hot seat.
We had to get rid of him. It was going on too long. We had to just get a replacement on.
You had to get rid of him. What,
You're
do you
moving
not
him on
like-
already?
I was about to say, do you not like working with that? I feel I've got to defend him now.
I'm only joking.
I am only here for 1 week and 1 week only for this Ladbrokes Social Club special, but it is an absolute pleasure to be here. We've got so much to get through, actually, over the course of the next couple of minutes. Lots to talk about from the weekend and lots to look ahead to.
Should say, just before we go any further, Emma, it's tradition on the show. New guests, new presenters. We have a little rummage through social media.
Starting to feel very uncomfortable right now. What's going to pop up?
I should say, actually, we tried to find like an embarrassing photo.
Hold on a minute, I'm going to have to stop you there because my phone is ringing and it says Darryl Curry, as though his ears were burning. Shall we answer it?
Yeah, go on.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Were your ears burning there? I was just talking about you.
No, what's going on here?
Well, recognise that?
I do.
And do you recognise these three?
Dazzler.
Oh, don't.
Young
Wait
Curry.
a minute here. Are you telling me I've missed 1 week and you've taken this on the road?
I'm really sorry. We're on the road, yeah, and I'm in your hot seat.
Can't believe it. I always miss the best trips. Where are you?
We're at Easter Road, where we were on Saturday for a rather eventful match.
Lovely.
More to the
Lovely.
point, where are you?
Well, I am actually just about to go into a press conference with Pep Guardiola and Rodri ahead of Man City, Dinamo Zagreb. You might be able to see there. I'm actually at Man City's training ground, which I have to say is pretty amazing.
Oh, it looks good there,
A
doesn't
lot
it?
of money has been spent in here. So, so I'm just about to nip into a press conference.
So,
Is
Champions...
everyone behaving?
Yeah, so far, we've actually just started, so you've called us right at the top of the show. So far, no bad behaviour to report, but I'm not convinced that that's gonna last for the rest.
I can't believe you threw Pep's name in within 10 seconds. It's not like you to throw a name in, is it?
Alex, the truth hurts, mate. And by the way, Daniel, is he all right with the seating plan this week, Emma?
Yeah, I was going to say he's still closest to the presenter, so I'm sure that's...
I was just saying, Darryl, I'm missing you, mate. If you can hurry back, if you can bring Pep with you as well, that'd be
I'm
great.
missing you as well.
Darryl, all you need to do is watch
That's
the
all love.
watch the show. You're going to go for him next week, believe me.
Don't believe it. Miss you, mate.
Oh, what a guy. So you're on Champions League duty this week, Daz?
Champions League duty. I'm about to interview Rodri as well. Man City's record signing, just the £62 million from Atletico Madrid. Partly his English is very good. In fact, it is. I've heard an interview with him, so I'm going to be chatting to him soon as well. And then it's a busy old week, as you know, because we've got Europa League coming on Thursday.
You watched Young Boys last season, didn't you? Of course, who Rangers are playing away this week.
I did, actually. I worked on them in the Champions League against Man United last season at Old Trafford. Very good team, very mobile, some really good players. The striker, Guillaume Waro, very good. So it'll be a big challenge for Rangers. I'm sure Daniel's going to tell you loads of things about that later, so hopefully I've just stolen his thunder.
Yeah, we've got that lined up later on in the show. But, well, thanks very much for calling in and checking on how we're getting on.
Just one more thing, Dodgy. I mean, you know I've been going okay in the fantasy football.
I have heard.
Well, until Alex Ray, I can't believe you've not mentioned this, by the way, because it's the first week you've absolutely battered me.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I was checking it. What did you get? 200 and what? 220? What did you get this week?
229, and I thought that was a good haul, but you've outdone that.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes a wee bit of preparation counts, Dazzler, as you well know.
It's good to know in about week 10 he's got the rules, Emma.
Well, there we are. Nice to know. I can't comment. I haven't even got a team, so shame on me. But
Gonna get involved.
there's time yet. There's time. Listen, we'll let you go on to the press conference. But thanks for phoning.
Have a good show.
Thank you.
See you soon.
See you, Daz.
Bye.
Bye. So his ears were clearly burning, weren't they?
absolutely.
Crikey.
It's
not
Nothing
like him.
escapes him.
He's very precious, Darryl, isn't he? He's a precious young man. So.
But that's a good game this week.
Don't. I'm not being fooled here, Emma. I know you were trying to get away there with your
the
picture.
picture?
The pictures getting
Oh,
thrown up
thanks
here.
away.
But what I was going to say is, I was looking for a one that was a wee bit kind of embarrassing, kind of, you know, but
Honestly, my heart's beating in my chest. I have no idea what's coming.
glamorous in every situation. Look,
Oh.
even in the gym, looking at $1 million.
Our
Look
own
at that.
stylist
very
as well.
much.
She's talking about her
Exactly,
own
I know.
stylist.
Personal
Yeah, it's
trainer,
actually,
stylist.
can I just put that into
Come on,
context?
Emma.
And I ask you a serious question. You're not one of these types that actually take pictures whilst in the gym, are you?
Yeah, of course I am. As you can see
Stop
by now.
it, Doddsy.
I've got a personal trainer who's very good for the camera as well.
Oh, look at you.
And do you know what? I couldn't actually have a gym session this morning because he was out last night.
Oh, dear.
Not me out, which is quite a turn up for the books. It was him that was out.
That's awful.
I know.
Sack
Terrible.
him and move on.
I need a new PT.
Sack him, get him on.
Yeah, but that was the Aberdeen. I was hosting the Aberdeen Women's Player of the Year lunch on Friday, which is great to see a women's football team getting recognised with their own event. So that was good, and they won the league yesterday. So congratulations to them.
Yep.
Deserves
Well
it.
done. The Dandy Dons.
Well done, Aberdeen.
I was having a
Well,
running.
thanks for looking those out. Yeah, I actually feel a bit calmer
I
now.
feel a bit creepy saying I was rummaging through social media, but it's tradition.
There's
and
a
it
name
is-
for people like you,
I've got a feeling that's
and normally I block them.
It's going to come back to haunt me. I did have a rummage through other social media this weekend. Alec, busy weekend for
Yes,
you.
absolutely, yeah.
Ben Nevis, tell us more.
Oh.
Yeah, we decided to do Ben Nevis for a school in Uganda. My daughter's 15 and she's going over to visit it. And at 4,000
I was going to say, you're not sending her to Uganda to live, are you?
No,
15?
no, not a chance. But I met Gordon Duncan at 4,000 feet. I was on the way down as he was coming up, so he was raising some money for MND. So, you know, some good causes on the way up there. It was extremely difficult.
Oh,
Good
well
weekend,
done.
though.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
Well done.
thanks very much.
And Craig, so what have you been up to? You were here, weren't you, for the
Yes,
game on
I was
Saturday?
here on Saturday for a game that we all thought was going to be very one-sided. And Hibs suddenly learned how to defend again. And it became a much better spectacle. So disappointing for Celtic, but it was a good game for us. Yes, it was.
Yeah, we'll talk about that game in a bit more detail shortly. But let's start at Ibrox, because Rangers, with their biggest win over Aberdeen in, I think, just almost 15 years, off the back of the struggles they had against Aberdeen last season. Were you surprised that they won so well?
Not at all. I think when you look at the personnel that Aberdeen had at their disposal, I think with McKenna and guys like that out, losing Shinnie, I don't think they're the same force as they were last year. Rangers are starting to look the part. You know, they've got guys that can score goals.
And
I
Greg
think-
Stewart getting his first goal for
Yeah.
Rangers.
I think he was a big bonus, actually. I think it was a bit of a surprise package, Emma, when you think about it. You know, when he came in the summer, people was, what are we going to get with this guy? It was a perfect opportunity to put him in, and he didn't have to take it, because I think when you get thrown in, I think the key thing for him was to take that opportunity, and he could have scored 2 or 3, actually.
Yeah, and here is...
I think the big motivating factor is that Celtic dropped points here at Easter Road before that game at Ibrox. So I think that's a test mentally for Steven Gerrard to say to his players, you know, you can go and capitalise on that. Go and put a performance in that actually makes your rival sit up and take notice. And the 5 goals against Aberdeen, who unfortunately lost Andrew Considine in the morning
that
of the game,
morning, gastroenteritis
as well
for
as Scott
him.
McKenna and likes of Ash Taylor, Craig Bryson. I mean, really down to the bare bones. And you know, I think Rangers absolutely dominated.
And Alfredo Morelos, a player who had so many difficulties and challenges against Aberdeen personally. I think it was 3 red cards last season. He won the first penalty, he scored a goal, and he stayed on the pitch for the duration.
See, for me, Craigs, he seems to have got on top of his discipline, but more importantly, his general all-round game's improved. But, you know, in terms of goal scorers, I said a couple of weeks ago, for me, he's the #1 goal scorer in Scotland by far, because he just scores goals.
But I think about his disciplinary stuff, nobody speaks about it anymore.
That's right, yeah.
And I think
Well, apart from us.
Yeah. But I think that's testament to him.
Yeah.
As much as Steven Gerrard had a word, the player has to work it out for
that's
themselves.
right,
They have
absolutely.
to understand. And he still is effective in games. He still is aggressive. He's still posing problems. And he's staying on the pitch.
On social media, obviously a big reaction to the game. You mentioned Greg Stewart, and I think it's kind of important. I think it's to shine a light on his performance.
You've got to
Got a-
recognise it.
Exactly, got a lot of praise from Rangers fans.
Yeah.
You guys touched it. First league start, I think, at the weekend.
Yeah.
And he came in you know, grabbed the bull by the horns and was excellent by all accounts.
Yeah, I mean, you see there Stuart asking if he's got himself into contention for Thursday. We'll look ahead to the Europa in a minute. But then at the bottom, Laura there saying, he scored one, but he had several really good opportunities to add to that, didn't he?
I think that would be a disappointing thing for him because he could really have made his mark. He did do so in terms of the goal and the overall performance. But if he could have got 2 or 3 goals to his debut, as you rightly said, and it endears him to the fans as well, you know, because he's away celebrating and it's just his arrival, really. I know we're getting into October, but it's important.
That's the reason why Steven Gerrard invested in the squad.
Absolutely.
So when you need guys like Greg Stewart, and I think a lot of people kind of raised their eyebrows when he signed for Rangers, 29 years of age, didn't have a great second half of the season against...
Well, he was on loan at Aberdeen, wasn't he,
so
last season?
Everyone kind of looked and thought, really? Yeah. So that may be the start of something special. He may not play every week, but if you can bring him on or play him in certain games and it affects them, then Steven Gerrard's made the right decision.
You talk about endearing yourself to fans there. One man who is getting a bit of stick from his own fans is the Aberdeen manager, Derek McInnes. Are you surprised he's coming under pressure from his own fans? Do you feel it's justified?
Well, I don't watch them every single week, so I can't overly comment on style of play or what they're doing. But from an outsider looking in, you look at the list of injuries, and I know people say, "Oh, that's excuses." It's not. It's a fact. If you're missing 5 or 6 players who would probably be who would be in your first 11, you've signed these guys to replace the likes of Graham Shinney, and they're not on your team. It's always going to be a difficult ask. Derek has been there 6.5 years. I think he deserves the right to have a poor spell. Well, you can call it a poor spell and sitting 4th.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You know, so it's finding that balance and not getting too carried away. That he sets, you know, such a high standard for his players. And the team have been so good over the years, consistency, they're going to have a little trouble.
We get this all the time, Doddsy. We get this on social media. We've been the hashtag save our managers, but when you look at, I think it's 2 wins in 10, Craigs. So in terms of the
plus
recent
a cup
form,
exit as well.
yeah, against Hearts last week. Yeah, so that obviously is a body blow for him. But he needs to get some players back because otherwise it becomes this will just increase.
Yeah, McInnes out trending on Twitter. Like you kind of the guys say, it's tough. It feels kind of unfair.
It does.
But when it's trending nationwide in Scotland, it's hard to avoid. Billy there.
No humour lost there up there, is there?
Well, that one, Stuart, that's a good tweet. Documents Aberdeen, Derek McInnes ideas. This folder's empty. That's a wee bit funny, but I get not for Derek McInnes. Billy there, how can you defend McInnes now? Run out of ideas. It's a tough time for him.
You can tell you sit in front of a computer all day. See if you think that ball man's funny, son, you need to get out and about. Doddsy, take him out for a session.
Is that an invite, by the way? Is that
no, I mean...
a session to the gym, he means. That's what he's talking about.
That's probably better. Probably more needed.
I think, the size of the defeat as well is something that's brought attention to this particular, isn't it? Because these games historically have been quite close. And then you look ahead to next week, it doesn't get any easier for Derek McInnes because another massive match where they're going to play Hibs, who we'll touch on from last weekend, but they've got a huge game ahead that at home, the pressure is on them to get a result.
I think if you speak to Derek McInnes, the pressure's always on. They get wins. Home, I think in the second half of last season wasn't very good. Their home form was poor. I know they've beaten Ross County at home so far this season. But Derek will know himself. Probably the downside is not many players will be back from injury. So it's probably the same squad again, trying to pick them up just to go and have a go at Hibs.
Just on that, just before we move on, it's our game of the week, Premiership game of the week next weekend. I don't know what you guys think of the odds there. Aberdeen at home at 11 to 10. I don't know. I know Hibs got a good result last weekend, but I don't know.
It's hard to pick a winner, really. Generally,
draw.
You know,
the value in the draw.
I'll go for the Dandy Dons. I'll tell you why. I think their home form will probably see them through to get into that top part of the table. And I don't think Hibs, you know, when you look at the weekend, I know it's against Celtic, they've not had a shot on target. And you know, when you look at the previous weeks as well, losing to Hearts and so forth, I'm going for Aberdeen. Good value.
Good value. Excellent.
Good value. So Alex Ray back in Aberdeen there. Let's touch on that Hibs match then, because Celtic came here the first time this season that they've dropped points. You know, we were here for this one, Craigs, and I think most people expected Celtic to come here and take all 3. But what about their performance, and do you feel they deserved to take more than just a point?
Well, they were clearly the better side in the first half. They got themselves level. No doubt they should have had 2 clear penalty kicks. You know, Paul Heckingbottom wasn't happy with the Encham challenge, felt they should have been sent off. But let's be honest, they should have had 2 penalty kicks. You know, that would have seen them win the game comfortably.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is the Ryan Christie one.
And do you know what? Here, see the fact that he tries to stay up. that may sway.
Work against them.
That may sway the referee.
And
but
here's
it
the
shouldn't.
second
It
one.
absolutely shouldn't. And I mean, that's as clear as it is.
That's so blatant,
You know,
that one, isn't it?
Bauer
I mean, look, he takes them out here.
For me, the
and Horgan
first one
takes him out.
is more crystal
Think so?
clear. Yeah, absolutely. I think when when someone's got to cross
Yeah.
and there's
They
contact
take one
at
leg.
the exact same
Aye.
time. So,
Takes a stand
but they are both of them are penalties. But I have to say, you know, they fought for tooth and nail for that point.
Hibs did.
Hibs,
They
absolutely,
did.
yeah.
I think Hibs made it difficult for them.
Yeah.
But they had to, because previously, you know, the goals against has been horrendous.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
You know, so the fact that they got the clean sheet down at Kilmarnock in the Cup, plus extra time, 120 minutes, you could see it kind of galvanised them a little bit. Scoring first also helped, but you know, when the going got tough, they hung in and they got a great point.
Dan, have we got hashtag save our referee?
You nearly said it there.
I know.
The referee was a big talking point,
Oh,
obviously.
there we go. I know
Kevin
you'd
Clancy's
have.
ears must be burning.
No wonder.
Look, every
How
song.
can you miss that? And it's not just him; it's a linesman. He's got to take
But I
some
mean,
responsibility.
it's very rare that we do a game and both managers are gunning for the referee. It's normally one or the other, isn't it? That thinks they've been hard done by. But Paul Heckingbottom sent to the stand for kicking a water bottle off the back of a free kick that was awarded to James Forrest. Then we saw Olivier Ncham raise his hands here, and then 2 yellow cards were dished out for this. Ncham lucky to stay on the pitch.
I think if he was given a red, I don't think he would have complained due to the fact that anything above the neck is deemed as violent. So, but you know, I think Heckingbottom was more to the remonstration as well. I don't think the bottle had a big bearing. I think for me it was more in the
Well, he
face.
said that,
of the,
didn't he? I think he said after the game he was sent off for his reaction towards the fourth official as opposed to actually, I think, the bottle kicking incident. But I think in chat, is it violent conduct? I know we touched. Is it really aggressive that he's going to? Now, violence would mean you're really going to hurt someone. He has a go. He shouldn't do it, but I think we have to. Have a bit of
I
common
think
sense.
in our days that kind of thing was encouraged, Craigs. But in terms of now,
What do you mean our day? You're a lot older than me, man. Come on.
I was going
you
to
just look at you
Don't
just
let the
look
grey
older.
hair. Don't let the grey hair affect your mindset.
Well, I had plenty of fans on social
Yeah.
media touching on that. Hibs and I should say Rangers fans thought Ncham should have been sent off.
Listen, don't get me wrong.
Do you think Kevin Clancy stayed in on Saturday night?
Oh,
I'm hoping for a few Saturday nights. He might stay because he'd give a couple of penalties, hadn't he, during the week at
Yeah.
Tynecastle? And it's weird. You wonder, does that come into your thought
Nah, it's your
process?
thinking now.
Does it? Because as a player, if you have a poor game and you make a mistake, and the same incident comes up again, it can affect your judgment.
see the first one when you see the actual footage, his actually sight is blocked, whereas the linesman's looking right along the line there.
Yeah.
Craigs.
So
Surely
he
he
needs
must
help.
play some sort of
He
part
needs
as well.
At the end of the day, though, hard-fought point for Hibs. We just touched on it there. They're up at Aberdeen next.
Yes.
First drop points for Celtic, and that, as you said, you know, sort of boosted Rangers. Looking to the other fixtures over the course of the week, we had St Mirren against Hearts. That
Classic.
was a classic. Well, it was. Well, was it a good point for St Mirren? I mean, it was very costly from a Hearts perspective.
Yeah, for me, I think St Mirren have to find a way of scoring goals. I think it's 3 and 7, which is not going to keep them up. I don't think, you know, they'll be in that shake-up anyway. Defensively, they're one of the best. I think there's 6 goals conceded, which is impressive.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to start winning home games because on the road, I can't see them getting too many opportunities.
It's finding that balance, isn't
Absolutely.
it? You know, it's finding that balance of overcommitting men forward to leave yourself exposed, but also then having that quality in the final third that can unlock the door and get the chances. So until they start scoring goals, every week that people sit here, they're going to talk about the same things, haven't scored. So somewhere Jim's going to have to try and find that balance and change it slightly.
And looking at Hearts, Craig Halkett and Loic Damour
yeah.
both injured. I mean, Craig Levine surely must be starting to run out of players by now.
How long are they talking about for Halkett then? Is it 7 months?
Months
Like
rather
7
than
months.
weeks.
It's
Yeah.
medial ligament. I think they said medial ligament, so it could
Yeah.
be months.
Yeah, that's a body
So I mean,
blow.
you know, he was given the captain's armband that day. He's been one of their best players all season, and now to compound all the other players that are out. And I think Dan, you've actually got a list of them.
So,
Oh,
Joan,
here we go. The Temple of Doom here.
This brings good news, Dan,
I think it's
doesn't
called
it?
research, Alan.
thanks for that, Emma. I appreciate that. John,
You'll do anything to get another gig
Oh,
here.
yeah,
Like,
thanks, back. I'll be doing well here.
it's not talking balls, it's talking.
Oh, the gloves are off, the swearing.
I feel like that clip's going to be clipped up and haunting me for the next few weeks. Right, Peter Haring, John Suter, Craig Whiten, Ben Garuccio, Stephen A. Smith, Connor Washington, Jamie Walker, Loic Damour, and now Halkett, all out for Hearts.
The thing is, it's different injuries.
Yeah.
See if it's the same thing. See if it's
Yeah,
always a
of course.
hamstring or a thigh or a groin. You think,
Yeah.
is it something they're doing in
Something they're doing,
training?
yeah.
I think Craig said that. They said they checked the training surface, they checked their recovery, their training schedule, everything last season to see why. He says, and there's no reason.
Hearts fans, big strong reaction to it obviously on social media. My personal favourite the weekend, Jamie Jambo, who had Halkett in the injury sweepstake, which I thought was quite funny. But Halkett a really bad one, as you say, captain at the weekend for Sauron.
I actually think he's ahead of Berra. You know, it looks as if he'd established himself.
Well, Berra didn't start, did he?
Yeah, I
Berra
know,
just
that's what I'm
subbed,
saying,
yeah.
Craigs. It was such a body blow, because Berra looks as if he was kind of struggling a little bit in recent weeks, but he'll be looking to try and kind of kick on.
Another classic, Kelly against Ross County. And Kelly, again, you're talking about St Mirren not being able to score goals, but Kilmarnock have got their own problems in that area as well. Of course, missed a penalty in this
Did
one.
you see the penalty?
No, I haven't.
Honest to God, it was as bad as... Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it was tepid. Absolutely. Osman So?
Yeah, Osman So.
Honestly, I'm not even sure it would have went over the line.
No.
He's tried to kind of... He's got it all wrong, and the keeper's threw his bonnet on it. And listen, see when you get an opportunity to score your first goal for a club, Craigs, surely you've got to put your
you
foot
go and
through it.
smash it as hard as you can.
He's not a natural prolific goal scorer though, is he?
I actually
Osman
like
So.
I like him. When we were down at Blackpool with Paul Ince, he came in trial, and I thought he's going to do us a turn, and then we get
He's got
sacked the following week,
attributes.
so it never materialised. But
Another sack of me, man. What's going on?
Listen, don't you worry about that, Craigs.
Just think if that hadn't happened, you would never be here.
Exactly.
Exactly. Every cloud's got a silver lining. Ross County, though, we were talking about them before we came on, had a great month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, and a good point for them away from home.
7 points in the last 3 games is really impressive for a club that come up, Craigs. You want to try and get some momentum going, and they've very much got that. I actually quite like the fact that you've got this joint management team. You know, they look as if they've got the same responsibility. The boys are buying into it. And I'm delighted for Roy McGregor because, you know, he puts his heart into the club.
Yeah, absolutely.
St Johnstone, Motherwell. I mean, again, St Johnstone's still looking for that first league win. But Devante Cole spared his blushes, wasn't he, by the goal that ended up being the winner?
Do you know what? I think he was just desperate to get his first goal for the club. You know, he had an unbelievable opportunity, missed it. But then, I think 4 or 5 minutes later, the ball lands a yard from goal and you just get a tap in. So, listen, great result all round. I spoke to Stephen on Saturday night. He said we didn't play well. It was a horrible game. But in the past, you know, I'm talking last season, you know, they lost those games. So to win, go into third place, it's been a terrific
And
start.
Liam Donnelly getting sent off as well, which I think the club are still considering an appeal for.
It looked a little bit harsh from where I was. They're coming together right enough, you know, but I think it was the fact St Johnstone were breaking away and Liam just pulled the boy back and brought him down. I think Red seemed a little bit harsh, but hopefully he gets that overturned.
But St Johnstone still looking for that league win, and as I say, and of course Scott Tans are missing a penalty in that match.
Yeah, I have to say it was a very good save.
Well, the keeper saved it.
Oh, saved,
it was a
sorry.
very good save. And so when you take that into consideration, the importance of that save, I take Craig's point. I was talking to some Motherwell fans at the top of Ben Nevis yesterday, and he says we didn't actually play well, but the result's absolutely fabulous. It takes us up to third place.
That's great.
And have you got
No, I was just going to say I had a draw in that game with Cooten. I was waiting on that coming in.
Well, that'll teach you, Dan.
You were waiting for it coming in?
Good on you.
That was the only
Slap it up
game.
here,
Is that the one that let you down?
That's the one that let me down.
Yes!
So you were applauding Devante Cole's miss.
200 quid. That's,
Is that what it was?
I know.
Craigs will give you
I'm
back.
actually.
Oh, great, honestly, I'm delighted. I'm saying better, Dan. I'm telling you.
You two chip in, eh?
Oh, yeah,
Two
sure,
hundred
yeah,
quid. Nice
yeah,
one, cool.
no problem.
That's good.
Hamilton against Livy is the last game for us to look back on,
Yeah.
and Hamilton did to Livy what Livy are so used to doing to everyone else, scoring with 2 set pieces.
Yeah, when the Livingston goal come through, I was remonstrating in the studio that it would come from a set play. They're absolutely prolific at set plays, you know.
The Livy goal, did you say?
Yeah.
Aye, Alan Lithgow.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the header, and you think to yourself, you know, they're so important for them. But you have to say, at home, Hamilton's form has been brilliant under Brian Rice, and I think that'll be the difference. I think that's the reason why they'll stay up. They look as if they've got a little bit of firepower as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve,
No,
but
no,
just
no,
when
no,
we mentioned obviously Johnson previously, but you mentioned Hamilton getting points, Livingston, St Mirren looking solid at the back. You do worry a wee bit for St Johnstone, don't you? Looks like the team around them are.
Someone said at the weekend, I think in the opening 7 games, that they've not won a game. They get relegated the last time. So there's a start for you.
There's a good
See,
start.
a bit of preparation goes a long way. Emma.
It certainly does, Alec. Well done. Congratulations. That rounds up the review of the weekend. What have we got in store for next weekend's Premiership fixture?
Next weekend's games, some big games coming up. We've obviously touched on the game of the weekend, which is Aberdeen against Hibs.
Yeah.
Hearts, Kelly, Motherwell, St Mirren, Ross County, St Johnstone. Some Sunday games next weekend.
Yeah, Livingston against Celtic, the early kick-off there, and then Rangers against Hamilton. And Livy 8-1 to get the victory against Celtic.
We watched them during the week on that pitch, on that surface. Difficult to play against. Lyndon Dykes posed Rangers problems. So
I thought he looked really good.
yeah, he did. His problem is he's not prolific enough. You know, he has that wonderful opportunity in the second half where you
could
want
lob a keeper,
a nice soft touch over the top, and you know he's quite. You know, he misses it, but 8-1. Celtic will be favourites, but I'm surprised Livingston.
5-1 a draw, Craigs. Could they nick a draw?
Well,
Who else are the standout teams there that you think are going to get the victories next week?
Well, you'd have to say Ross County, you know, on
Yeah,
current
St Johnstone.
form, you know, 65, good price.
Hearts, you know, people are saying Hearts have turned the corner,
I don't see
winning
it.
the derby. No, but I'm just talking
Yeah,
about the
I do,
importance of the
yeah,
game. I'm
yeah,
talking about the
absolutely,
importance
yeah.
of the game, really, to keep that feel-good factor going for Craig Levein. He's missing players. Kilmarnock will go and be stuffy and be hard to beat. So, you know, Craig needs to win.
Absolutely, I think as well. I'm going to bounce back next week. Coupon-wise, Ross County at home, 60.
Going to win 400 quid next week.
65.
Motherwell at home.
When you just give me the money, I'll stick that 200 on. And then obviously Hamilton 16 to 1 at Ibrox as well. That's a good shout, I think.
You think so? Good value.
Good value.
He's to lose, no.
Watch this space for next week.
Oh,
and
dear.
tune in for that one.
I'll tell you what. See if they win, I'll give you 200 quid back.
Okay, right.
You heard it here first.
That's on film. That's on film.
Alex will give you 30 to 1. There you go. Is that?
You going to take it? 30 to 1?
No, listen, give me 200 quid back if they win next weekend.
Excellent.
Well, listen, we do have the delightful league trophy next to us, but we've also got the Ladbrokes monthly award next to us as well, because it is time for the manager and the player of the month awards to be handed out. A few contenders this month. You look at Ross County, who we touched on, who've had a good month. Rangers obviously have had a good month. I mean, where do you see the trophies for the past month going?
I think when you're a manager and you win all your games, you like to think you're in with the shout. But put it in the context of Stuart and Stephen about Ross County. I know they have 7 points from their 9, but those 7 points are so important for them. You know, they've came up from the Championship. They're wanting to stay up. They want to try and survive, but they're thriving. You know, that last-minute goal at Motherwell last week, they win 2-1. You know, albeit drawn at Kilmarnock, I think with the last-minute goal against St Mirren as well. So I'd like to think they would be certainly in the reckoning for the managers.
Yeah, for me, absolutely. I think they will be in. A few guys will be kind of pitching for them tomorrow night at the nomination dinner, and Stephen Gerrard's very much going to be in the reckoning as well. 3 wins, but when you look at the amount of goals they've scored as well,
I think if you look at minutes on the pitch compared
I
for
was gonna say,
Defoe,
you would think it'd be hard for probably for Jermaine to get it because he
Yeah.
hasn't played an awful lot. But ultimately, then you think,
the return is quite
you know, what
impressive.
an impact he's making
Yeah.
when he's coming off. So, but Ryan Christie, you know, it certainly is a standout player as well. I think he's
Yeah.
been terrific, just all around, just over the last 18 months, 2 years, how he's grown in stature. And how Neil Lennon trusts him. You know, even here on Saturday, starts him on the left, plays him on the right, all over, taking other people off so we can get him into his best position.
yeah, and he's been rewarded with his goals. Another man being rewarded with goals as we go a bit further down the leagues is Lawrence Shanklin. I know you talked about him last week on the show, but we can't ignore him again this week. Another hat-trick for him. It's absolutely astonishing. I think that's 15 goals now for the season. Will he be called up in this next Scotland squad? What's your thoughts?
I'd be surprised if he was called up, I have to say. I think it's a different level altogether. I think he would have to go up to the Premiership and score at the rate. I think it's 5 in the last 2. I know Shanks very well. I had him at St Mirren. A great lad, did 34 goals last year. It's an area where we're struggling badly, but I still think it's a massive jump. I think he would have to go to the next level.
I mean, I suppose the other side is, would it do any harm to bring him in? If he doesn't get a
Have
game,
a look at him,
but
yeah.
at least have a look at him. You know, he's feeling good about himself.
San
He's
Marino at
scoring
home,
lots
maybe
of
not
goals.
Russia away, but San Marino at home, is it an opportunity for him to get a couple of minutes? I'm not saying give out cheap caps, I'm just saying, does he
Bring
warrant?
him in for the experience. Let Steve Clark have a closer look at him. You know, let him see him in training, see what his finishing's like. Just to see.
I like Shanks.
And if
Shanks,
he trains
get him
well,
in the squad.
And if he trains
Does
well,
anyone
does
know where
well,
Steve
well,
Clark was this weekend? Does anyone know where he was? Was he watching? No?
No, I haven't. I think it was at Oxford a few weeks ago. I
Right.
think it was talk of Chris Cadden.
Okay, good reaction though, wasn't it?
It's caught fire a little bit. I think with the squad being named this coming week for the games against Russia and San Marino, it's caught fire a bit on social media. We put it out in Talking Boys. Should he be called up? Alan Scott, nothing to lose, why not? I'll jump in the Shanklin bandwagon, get him in the Scotland squad from Nathan.
Right, we've got to move it on because
All right, don't you?
you guys are
You
just...
don't get this kind of unprofessional kind of carry on when you've
Sorry,
got
but
Dazzler
you're
here.
just chatting away. And
Bring
I'm
back
just gonna
Dazzler,
bring you
hashtag
back.
Hashtag bring back
Let me
Dazzler.
take control of this ship. Talking about the Scotland squad, there's a few very good Scottish performers down in the English Premiership. We saw Billy Gilmore getting his full Chelsea debut during the week. He's still very young. I'm not suggesting that he necessarily gets a call up, but great to see him playing for the first team at Chelsea and doing so well.
Chelsea fans were raving about him on social media. There's one guy here, Olami. Billy Gilmore plays at Xavi Alonso and Iniesta Road 91. He was playing against Grimsby Town.
Well, that's what you have to put it in context, as well as he's done. But it still, you know, takes a lot of bravery to go and play at Stamford Bridge and take the ball and take it under pressure with a little bit of expectation.
He's got a lot of followers, him, Alame Gilmore. It's his cousin, isn't it?
Just on Gilmore, like I know he's only 18. He's in the under
Couldn't even
21
reply
squad.
to that.
I would have him in the squad. What's that again? Like other nations around Europe, when they've got a player like coming up, they get him in the squad. Don't he play him?
I see him in the Toulon tournament. I think he won the player tournament. He was absolutely outstanding.
Massive loss to Scottish football, wasn't it, when he decided to go down south?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, when Chelsea come calling, it's extremely difficult for someone there. And the preparation and the work it's going into this guy. And because of the embargo, it might actually work in his favour because he's starting to get
I think short term, Rangers may suffer, but I think Scottish football as a whole, with regards to the national team, if he goes and progresses, then it's been a terrific.
One player they're definitely benefiting from is John McGinn, who just seems to go from strength to strength at Aston Villa. Another goal from him, and he's getting rave reviews, isn't he?
3 goals this season, away at Arsenal, away at Spurs, and then obviously home at the weekend against
Burnley.
Burnley.
He's got five goals this year. He actually got one chopped off earlier in the game as well.
He's a cult hero down there at Villa.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well already.
I love him,
On social media, Home of the Villa, which is a big Villa Twitter page, saying John McGinn's the best player I've seen at Villa Park for years. Not even a conversation, quite simply a fact. It's high praise. He's not been there too long.
And Kieran Tierney, we expect him to make his actual Premier League debut against Manchester United. Great to have him back to full fitness.
Yeah, well, he made his debut last week, didn't he?
Well,
For them, and they were. I think he was relatively comfortable within the game, and they have plenty of the ball. So, Man United will be a different proposition, but it'd be great to see the boy back playing. Yeah,
I mean, it'd be great. We've got so many left backs, haven't we? We could do with a right back, please, if somebody can get one through.
Stephen O'Donnell's well happy with that one.
Stephen O'Donnell's a great right back, but I'm just saying we've got such a wealth.
Your one-on-one interview with him, I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
Talk about stirring the pot. Stephen O'Donnell, that jersey's yours. I mean, you're a first pick for me every time. You get what I'm saying, though? We've got so much talent on the left side.
I know, Alyssa, of course we do.
Thanks very much.
It's a tough school in
here,
Dodds.
How long's left of the show?
You've got a thick skin.
Let's move on to the Europa League then, because, European football's back this week. Rangers are away in Switzerland to Young Boys, and Celtic are at home to FC Cluj, which is obviously a rematch of that Champions League qualifier. Let's start with the early kick-off, though. Rangers over in Switzerland. How do you rate their chances after, a reasonably impressive win against Feyenoord?
Well, I think beating Feyenoord gives them the opportunity to go there and be compact, be hard to beat, try and play on the counter-attack. If you don't pick up your first 3 points at home, you probably have to go chasing that game. So it may just change the style of play slightly for them. And I think is it Porto away after that?
Yeah.
It just shows you again the importance of
Porto, isn't it?
Porto away, then Porto home. Yeah.
Crucial for them. So I think if they come back with a point, they'll be delighted.
And of course, you're saying about their form, but no away fans in this one with the form of Young Boys going into it.
Yeah, that's disappointing, and I think obviously we have to learn lessons from that, because it's obviously kind of hampering people for going and supporting the club. And from a player's point of view, you want to see your fans behind a goal or something, get a bit of noise going. So it's disappointing from that aspect. Just on Young Boys, obviously their form at the minute. They beat Sion 3-2 at the weekend. Second in the Swiss League. Jean-Pierre Nsame, 26-year-old Cameroon international. He's good, isn't it? He's not a bad player, him as well. 9 and 12. 9 and 12 this season. He scored in the first game against Porto in the Europa League, and I think it'll be a tough game for Rangers away from home, especially with no fans.
It's a surface as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an artificial surface out there as well, so there's a number of elements for Steven Gerrard to contend with. What about Celtic then? A couple of months ago, it will still be fresh in their mind, won't they? They'll want to get that victory at home after what happened in the Champions League. Yeah, they want to get one over Cluj, having lost 4 at home the last time. But I think it'll be a different proposition. But you have to give Cluj credit. I think they beat Lazio the last round, which is a difficult thing to do. So, no, I think that's geared up to be a good match as well. But I fancy Celtic on the night. But
Neil shouldn't have to say too much. The players should know themselves what's going on, what's happening. And I think if you caught up in that mindset of, trying to prove a point, it can affect you. So go out and deal with the game itself.
The players, they'll crack. Yeah, the players have got to prove that point.
Just deal with the game and get on with it.
Celtic 8-15 to win that one. Cluj 6-1.
Which is huge considering considering they beat them last time.
I should say as well, Rangers 14-5 away from home. Maybe a double, would you think?
I think it'll be a fast for Rangers on the road, just because they're difficult on the ice stuff as well. But as you say, Craig's a point there, and I think Celtic are good value.
Yeah. We all know about Cluj, obviously, as you mentioned them, they're top of the Romanian league after 6 games. They Bilal Omrami, I think I'm saying that right.
Oh, perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Take your word for it.
He's been linked with Celtic in the press over here. He scored in the match they won. I'm just actually trying to read my notes now. 9 goals in 16 games.
He won't be linked until January now, surely.
No, but he scored the winner against Lazio in the first game, that was it. So I think he'll be the danger man for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% he will. Well, we will watch with interest how the European matches unfold. Let's now move on to your own managerial careers, because it's that time of the week. It's that time where we talk about fancy football.
Stop it, Dodds.
Look, your
face. Thing is, I'm absolutely gutted that you're in that chair, because if it was Dazzler, he'd just have bypassed this segment.
I find it absolutely adorable. You still take so much pride in your fantasy football team.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you actually see me on a Saturday when all the goals and the points are coming through.
So here it is.
There you go. Start with that. Manager of the week, Stingray FC.
Like Craigs.
258.1. You've got a wee St Mirren player in there in the middle as well.
Yeah, he's did well for me. Nick 2 points. Kyle.
I tell you what, see, just when I see the name of Declan Gallagher, you know, when you're talking about Scotland squads, you know, I'm drifting away a little bit here, but you know, when you consider Craig Halkett was going to be linked with Scotland and getting the call up, he must be on the brink. Honestly, he's been terrific since he started and getting Alex some good points as well.
He's one of the best signings so far in terms of
Declan
value.
Gallagher.
Besides the fantasy football, just about what he brings to the team. He's a winner, goals, set plays for and against.
He's better in possession,
Yeah,
actually, than I
absolutely.
thought.
He's
Much
decent,
better.
Not only did you have Tav, though, who obviously got his 2 penalties, but you really not lucked out, because I'm sure it wasn't luck, it was absolutely deliberate. But Jermaine Defoe is your star sub.
Yes, well, Emma, if you had participated in this, you would know that the key thing to this is a super sub.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
that's where
just
you get the
pointed out.
points.
It's taken Alex 7 weeks to work this out.
Yeah,
there you go.
you know, I didn't even have any subs for the first 6 weeks. But I'm delighted that Jermaine came on. And you talk about finishes and finesse. It was so natural for him,
the
whereas we
blow
talk
over.
about the boy
Brilliant,
Dykes.
yeah, exactly.
Polar opposite.
Brilliant.
So there you
So
go.
a good weekend all in all.
Have a little look at yours, Stephen. How's your team getting
I
on?
know. Well, when Livingston were winning, John Guthrie was getting me good points, and then, of course, they conceded the 2 goals, which killed me a little bit. Edward, I put his captain. It was between him and Tav and I went last minute because I was here. I thought Edward's going to be in the mood. He's had a rest during the week, but unfortunately,
It's funny, isn't it, how sort of decisions affect your weekend, don't you? Like, you obviously put out Edward as captain, not Tav, and you're like, by Saturday night, I like that.
Mike Piesu.
I just stopped by going to St Mirren.
He's your favourite,
I thought
can you like him,
physically
don't
he
you?
might have hosted a few plugins.
Do you know the thing is, he couldn't hit a barn door. So, anyway.
He saying that last week when he scored against Hibs.
Wait, be standing beside you, you'll not be saying
Yeah, exactly,
that
but you say it to his
I'll
face.
knock you out. You get it, man.
He'd miss me if he was shooting.
You mentioned James Tavernier. He was player of the week this weekend in fantasy football. 44 points. A lot of people in his, Steve mentioned his captain. It was a good shout.
His statistics are absolutely remarkable.
incredible.
You look at last year as well, and then obviously this year. Obviously taking the penalties is a bonus, but he just brings so much to the table.
Every week, Emma, we run down the best defender, midfielder, striker.
There you have it.
Rangers treble this week. The only treble Rangers winning this year, Alec, you think?
What was the time and what was the date?
Oh,
Is that
dear,
all right?
yes, exactly.
Noted.
I feel that's going to be clipped up
Noted
as
as
well.
well. There's a few that are going to come back to bite you this.
Daniel, look at that. Look up there. Look, you've got 3 main men.
Tell you what though, Greg Stewart, you know, obviously falling into the midfield category, but he's quite prolific, you know, if he's given game time, obviously. And well, I was going to say reasonably priced. He's not too expensive when you compare it to other attacking options. But who was the sort of player, the value?
So bargain
Of
player
the
of the
week,
week. You look at Alfredo Morelos there, 25.8 points. Blair Alston, only 9.7, 10 million
10
less.
million cheaper.
25 points.
Think what you could
Decent
do
shout.
for 10 million.
Exactly.
Think how many clothes you could buy with 10 million.
To be fair, it was a wee
Close.
opportunity.
I'm not worried about football.
Did you say close there?
She said close.
Think how much you could
Why
buy
are you
for
looking
10
at us
million.
two? Have a look at Daniel. Look, just been dragged out the street there.
Sorry, Dan, I seem to be crossing them in and he's nodding them in.
He's just a bit. I said I'd give him fashion tips a few weeks ago. We'll talk later. Don't worry.
So does that sum up fantasy? Is there
A
more
little
to
bit
go?
more. Team of the week. Here we
Oh,
go.
sorry, yeah.
307.7 points.
Team of Lefroy 10-year-olds, 307.7 points. Wow, that is... See, again, Jermaine Defoe is that super
It's
sub.
crucial. It's
Yeah.
crucial because you get so many points with the sub.
Is
Tavernier
this you're going to
captain
go on
as
to
well.
win the league now that you finally figured out what the rules
Yes, well, the key thing is to actually get the right guy, Craigs, because you've only got enough money for one person, and it's important to actually recognise, because for a few weeks they were doing the rotational with Morelos and Defoe, so some weeks I had it the wrong way around.
So that's the team of the week, but who was the best performer?
This Diego.
Still Diego.
He's been leading the way for a month now.
He's annoying me.
He is annoying me as well. I want to find Diego, hunt Diego on social media. If I was him, I'd be spending that 10 grand in my
We need
head.
to get him
right now.
on.
Definitely
We do
need to get him
actually
on.
need to get
Give us
Diego
some
on, I
tips.
think.
Yeah,
I mean, although
we've
this
got
is
to.
my first time on the show, I feel like I know Diego because he
Yeah.
gets mentioned that often in previous weeks. But I mean, you look at that. Is that 219.8 for the week?
That's
Is
just
that
for the
his
week.
total for the week, right?
So 1880 overall. And he does change his team every week. He does go in and tinker with formations, players. He really seems
He
to.
needs to get out
look-
more, doesn't he?
see,
He needs
if
to
you
get out a
look-
bit more,
if
have
you
a
look
bit of
at
a life.
Diego, look at he's always looking at bringing the subs and things as well.
Yeah, he knows.
Aye.
He knows where it's
Clearly
at.
knows
So
the
this
rules.
is a fancy football
Born off,
expert.
Diego. Born off.
I know, let
Come
somebody
on.
else have a shot.
Diego, get out, man. Get
Let
yourself a
somebody else have a shot. Poor Diego, he almost needs to come on for a right of reply, I feel.
He does. We're going to get him
Diego,
on.
phone us.
We're going to get him on. We're
Go
going
on,
to get him
Diego,
on.
phone us.
He's done great. Well done.
Sorry, Diego.
So that sums up fantasy football. I watch with interest to see how it all unfolds over the course of the next week. But the 1-2 free bet as well, which is another feature that we do on the show. Guess the correct score, is it?
Exclusive to the app as well.
Yeah,
Ladbrokes
exclusive
app.
to the app. You can't do this online, you have to go via the app. But if you correctly guess, if I can even say it, the score of the 3 matches up there, there you go. Correct score for a £1 free bet. 2 correct scores, you get a £5 free bet. And then if you get all 3 right, you get £100 cash, I think.
Wow.
I'll be giving that a go. I'm not taking Newcastle to win, that's for sure, after their...
I was going to say.
Oh, you like the Newcastle, don't you?
well, don't rub it in.
Okay.
Did.
Then again,
Did.
they are playing Man United.
I know,
So, I mean,
every
Well,
cloud.
Yeah, they've got a chance.
exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We'll see you
That's
next
the
week.
1-2
That's
free bet.
exclusive to the app, obviously, and entry before 5:30 on Saturday.
All right,
Lovely.
well, that pretty much wraps it up, doesn't it, for this week? What have you got on this week?
Me?
More hills?
I'm actually popping off to Portugal for a couple of days. I need to
As
top
you
up
do.
my tan.
I
'cause
popped
I'm
to the
getting
supermarket, you popped to Portugal.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more foundation on my face every week, so I just need to get a natural tan.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Crags?
Well, you're off to Burn.
I'm off to Burn
Gillian's
tomorrow,
laughing over
yeah.
there.
You're off to
Off to
Burn.
Burn.
Brilliant, yeah.
I'm off to Burn for young boys.
Yeah. That'll be nice.
And after this, I'm going shopping. So that we
Oh, what, for clothes?
They're closed apparently. Yeah.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
What the devil you've had. You've been absolutely magnificent.
No,
if you
well
don't get
done,
invited
Dodds.
back, there's something wrong. That's all I
It's
can
an
say.
outrage.
That's all I can say.
Thanks very much. I wonder what they'll say behind my back. Anyway, Darryl will be back for the next episode, but it has been an absolute pleasure being here to keep this seat warm. Thank you very much for joining us on the Ladbrokes Social Club.